Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. In today's video, I'll be going over all of my completed pages in my various Coloring Heaven coloring books. And if that is of interest to you, please stay tuned. Alrighty, so I just did a count. Yeah. And I have 17 Coloring Heaven coloring books. Now, I do put a disclaimer. I don't think I have any at work because I actually do have quite a few coloring books at work, but I don't think I have any Coloring Heaven books there. If I do, because once I edit, I will be able to check at work next week, then I'll insert a picture of the one that I have at work. But again, I don't think I do. But I will show you the books that I have not colored in, and it is my focus to have at least one page colored in them by the end of 2022, and then we'll go into the actual completed pages. And I won't do flip-throughs. If you're interested in flip-throughs of any of these, let me know. Although if you just type in Coloring Heaven and then the name of the book, you'll find tons of flip-throughs. Coloring Heaven even has a channel here on YouTube. So let me get this organized and I'll be right back. Now these are actually a little taller than 8.5 by 11. So the width of the coloring book is about 8.5, but it's actually closer to 12 inches. In fact, where that I store them isn't on my bookshelf in front of me. It's actually to the side of me. I used to store scrapbook paper there because it is longer than a traditional coloring book, and it doesn't fit in the bookshelf in front of me. So just be aware of that. And the reason why the majority of these are not colored in is because they are fairly new. 3 of them are actually within the last month. But the first one is Jash Lee's Gods and Goddesses Special. I do love Jash Lee's work. This is absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, that's one that I have not colored in. Another one is Wei Shan Ong's Starry Night Special, and I picked this up in June. I have not touched this one. I did mention in the haul video where I showed these that I do prefer these smaller pages versus some of the ones in the front that are bigger, just because I like the artwork a little bit better, but there's not many of these. I actually don't have a problem with all of that wasted space. I like that it's framed in, and if I wanted to, I could add in distressing for the background or text or both, and to me that's a background done. But this is another one I have yet to touch. Gothic Compendium. This one's a little bit older in that I got it in the beginning of 2022, and this one I have not completed as well. Now this one, it's interesting because some of the images, like this one here and this one here, I have colored already, but in different books. This is from my Hannah Lynn Steampunk book, and I don't color things twice. And then this is a picture I'll show you in a little bit that I've completed from another annual book. So some of the books, and I'll talk about them as I get to them, may not have many pictures, if at all, colored, because it's either in styles that I don't like or pictures I've already colored. So yeah, but I do like the Gothic style, and there are some pictures in here that I don't have. So this I definitely see as worthwhile. This one here, Creatures of the Night. Again, I don't go for horror or scary, but this kind of artwork really speaks to me. I'm not a seasonal hobbyist. I don't generally color a lot in the season, but I do love Halloween-y, kind of witchy, kind of gothic things. But this is something I've yet to get into. This was also purchased in the beginning of the year, around March 2022. And then this was purchased just last month. This is Ines Guerrero's Gothic Fantasy Special. And this one, I do have a buddy color set up with my girl Chelsea. We're going to be doing this one. And I'm actually glad because I generally don't like the landscape pages. I love the artwork. I just don't like working in this kind of format, so this definitely gives me the perfect excuse to work on a page, and my hope is to have it done by the end of July. I love the artwork on here. I think they're absolutely beautiful and yet spooky enough that I can deal with. But yeah, those are all of my untouched Coloring Heaven coloring books. So let me show you my books with completed pages in it. I wanted to start with this one because this is the one that made me want to get Coloring Heaven. So I got this back in March 2021. Now, I did not rediscover coloring as an adult until January 2021. And I had seen this on someone's channel, I must have. And so I actually had a 3-month subscription with them and then decided to cancel. And I'll talk a little bit about that when I get to some of the other books. But I really love the art style in here. So this is one of my completed pages. Now, this is not a go-to book for me, and it's really because, one, I have so many books, but also it has a lot of these landscape type pages, and I just really don't like coloring landscape pages. And so, yeah, I don't have a lot completed in here, but I really liked the look of this one. This was done back in April 2021, and it's a combination of pencil as well as some alcohol marker, and I love the look of him. And then this is the first page that I completed this. This was with Tombow markers and shaded with Prismas. And again, I really like the artwork in here. It's not my go-to just because a lot of the pictures are landscape. However, this is one of my go-to when I'm looking for one of Olga Rani's prompts, because you've got a bunch of different Fabiana Attanasio fairy tales in here. So, I always see if I can fit something in here to fit one of her prompts. But that is Fairy Story Special by Fabiana Attanasio. Now, Fabiana actually has single storybooks with this. So this is not new art. There's actually a coloring book that has all of this art in it, but I liked this one because it has a compilation of various fairy tales, and so that way I don't have to buy the other ones, because also those are double-sided, and if I can, I prefer a single-sided book. To talk about the paper quality, I think it's a slightly better paper quality than like Amazon printed books, but these are predominantly alcohol marker books for me, so it doesn't really matter, because as long as I put a blotter sheet behind, I get the effect that I want. But that's this one right here. This one I had actually gotten and then given away because I didn't think I'd ever color this, but then I got this as a gift from my friend Miss K. That's her first initial, and I'm actually glad that she sent it to me, because with my Coloring the Year of the Tiger 2022, there's actually a few tiger pages in here that I can color towards my own hashtag. But the page that I completed actually was, no surprise, a prompt for Olga Rani's cactus prompt, that one right there. This has a variety of different mediums. Again, because it's single-sided, I can use wet mediums. The page does buckle a little bit. You can see some bleed through, but so long as I protect the page right here, none of that actually bothers me. So I've colored in here, and there are some tiger pages back here that I can color for my hashtag. And so I'm really thankful that she sent this to me. But this is a Colorful Adventure Storybook by Josh Lee. If the lighting seems a bit wonky, it's a different desk pad than I usually have. And it's more of a cream than a white. I would have preferred a white. Things that I have on my desk are casting shadows, and I don't know how to fix that because I don't have a ton of light in my room. So I'm sorry for the lighting situation. This is the annual 2022 special, and this is something that I'll need to think about going forward. I actually liked having the annual collections because I only started collecting Coloring Heaven books in 2021. But when I got this one, I wasn't disappointed, but I realized that quite a bit of the images in here I already had because I had some of those other books. So like the ones from Maud Lamone, you'll see in a little bit. And the Josh Lee special I just showed you, you've seen. This particular artist, the Jenny Cook one, I didn't like any of those images at all. I mean, she's cute, but I don't have any intention to color this. And then this is from the Steampunk one, the Fabiana one, this Herb Leonard one. They're interesting images, but I don't feel any need to color them. And so it's just, this one was the first time I got one because it was just an automatic buy for me, because I did purchase this from Etsy because I liked all of the annual ones before. But going forward for like the annual 2023, I don't know that I'm going to purchase it because I generally just pick up the coloring books that I like, and I don't need a compilation book of them. But the one page I did complete out of here is this one right here. This was for one of Olga's prompts of spiders. It was quite a bit of mixed mediums. I like it and I don't. The colors in my mind I thought would be different, more vibrant, but they are watercolors, so I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking. But overall, I like that it's a little different than what you'd see. I mean, I purposely made her hair orange so that I couldn't color the pumpkin orange because I wouldn't have the two colors stacked against each other. But there is a completed page in here. I don't know how many of these pages I'll actually complete just because, again, I do have the ones I like in other books, but I have a completed page, so there's that. This is Fantasy Figure Special by Maud Lamone, and I actually have a few in here. This one I completed recently. This was for Poet Spice's Gents in June and July. And that's a hashtag she has going on through July of 2022. I've yet to post it to Instagram, but I have completed, and I completed it specifically for that. This one right here was for one of Olga Rani's prompts for Wedding. I saw these two characters as Fiona and Shrek, just a very highly stylized fairy version, but that was my inspiration for this. And then I completed this. This was for Olga Rani's fortune telling back in January 2022 because I saw her as a fortune teller. I like this book. Oh, there's some yellowing. And so some of the pictures that the character is a little bit smaller and there's not a ton of skin, I actually favor. Like this one I like a lot more than I like this one because I'm not always the quickest with my alcohol marker work. And sometimes there's lines, sometimes there's streaks. Now, I don't get too fussed about stuff like that, but I do prefer a more detailed page than a page with lots of big open coloring. That's just my preference. But yes, very beautiful book, Fantasy Figure Special by Maud Lamone. There's this one here, the annual 2020. I really like this one. And so this is that picture I had showed you earlier that was in that other, I think, Gothic Compendium book. I won't color that one because I've already colored this one. And even if I wasn't 100% happy with the first attempt, there's so many uncolored pages in my arsenal that I will never feel the need to color something twice to sort of redeem myself. I mean, it is what it is. So there's that one right there. And I did complete this one right here. Yeah, this must be in the Steampunk Special Hannah Lynn coloring book that I have. So the one in that book I will never color because, again, I don't color things twice. And I do like to do backgrounds a lot when there's portraits in sort of a grayscale so that whatever color I have on the actual picture kind of pops out. This is a picture I would have never done, but it was for one of Olga Rani's prompts of strange creatures. And so I do like filling prompts. And if I can get a page I never would have colored anyway, well, that's just kind of a bonus for me. And then the last one here is a picture by Naleki Shoemaker. And this was for another one of Olga's prompts of handsome men, and he certainly is that. And again, most of the pages I do in these, or at the very least, based in alcohol marker with some accents of either pencil or glitter gel pen or something sparkly or shiny on top of that. But those are my completed pages in Coloring Heaven's annual 2020 collection special. I've got one page completed in this Halloween special, and it was this one right here. This one I actually did for Corey's monthly alphabet challenge. This was F is for January. I only used 3 alcohol markers, and that's why the color palette is the way that it is. But I actually think she's absolutely beautiful. This is another Inés Guerrero picture, and more often than not, if I don't want to have to deal with a background, I will put text on a page, and for me it just fills up that blank space perfectly. And what her text says is, nothing is absolute. Everything changes, everything moves, everything revolves, everything flies and goes away. And that's by Frida Kahlo. And I chose that quote because she is a fairy, and a little bit slightly sad looking one at that. Sad by way of emotion, not sad because of her color choices. But that is a completed page out of here, Halloween special, and there's a variety of different artists in this one. Steampunk Special is, I think, one of the ones I got when I had the subscription to Coloring Heaven. Steampunk is not a genre that I normally gravitate towards, but I do have a few pictures completed in here. There's this one here, and I want to say this went towards a prompt of some kind. I think it was one of Olga Rani's prompts. Oh yeah, Finding Color for Kid, and this also went for Steampunk Spice 2021 for Poet. And actually had a lot of fun, and I think it's a really pretty picture. I also completed this. I didn't write it down, but I'm pretty sure this was for either Old Guy or Handsome Guy for one of Olga Rani's prompts. About 90% of the time I write down the mediums and what I chose a picture for. Sometimes I forget, but again, this is not a picture I would have normally colored except for a prompt that was out in the community. And then this one, it's funny because I was watching Shadow and Bone on Netflix, and that's what this picture was giving me the feels, but after a while I just got bored. So there is quite a bit up here that isn't colored, over here that isn't colored. But this is a picture that's done because I'm never going to come back to this. And I'm not even going to consider it a whip because even looking at it now, I have no compulsion whatsoever to finish it. It's as done as it's going to get for me. And I'm perfectly okay with that. But that is the Steampunk Special. And this is designed by Matt and Dawn Davidson. I like a lot of the art in this one, the Inktober 2020 coloring challenge. It's just, again, so many desires to color, so little time. But I did complete this page right here. This was actually a lot of fun, quite a variety of different mediums. This is the page that made me fall in love with the Jelly Roll Glaze pen. At the time, I only had the black, but I love how shiny it looks, and I love the effects it puts on a page. I don't know that this was for any prompt, but I was just drawn by the artwork. It's such an eclectic book with a variety of different artists in it, and this wasn't anything I believe that they had in any other coloring books. So it's a nice collection of pages that I don't know that I'd have in anything else that I own. So I do like this one. It is one that I'm happy that I have. I have the annual 2021 special. And this is the page I completed out of this. This was, you guessed it, another prompt for Olga Rani's, I think it was a weekly prompt, and the prompt was octopus. I love that it was a play on that. I love the color palette on here. It's very neutral, it's very muted, but it also kind of fits the theme of this to me. And I don't know if I left the second glove white on purpose or if I just forgot to color it. well, I mean, it's done. So, yep, that's the page I have out of this, the annual 2021 special. And these, as you can see, is just a variety of different artists that they compile from their coloring books for that particular year. This might be one of my favorite completed pictures. This is the Fairytopia Special by Mystic Arc Mirrors. I don't own anything else by Mystic Arc Mirrors, and so I'm glad I picked this up here. And this was a buddy color with my girl Deb. I love the colors on this. There's a variety of different mediums. I think she's fabulous and fierce. And the text on her page says, "The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled." And that is by Plutarch. And it just pops to me. And I don't know that this is exactly the color palette that I was going for. I knew I wanted her hair and her skin that color, and I knew I wanted the background that color. And I actually had those things completed first. And then it was just sort of a process of elimination of, well, what's going to pop against these colors, and then what's going to pop against that color. And I could not be happier with this. But that's my completed page out of this one. This is the Fairytopia Special by Mystic Arc Mirrors. This is a book I am planning to work on every single month through 2022 because it does count towards my Coloring the Year of the Tiger. And so it wasn't the first page I completed in this book, but it is the first page of the book, and this is for Aries. It was a limited color palette, and I actually love how it looks. I was only gravitating towards one artist in here because it does have Mayumi Ogihara, Tanya Bond, Kelly O'Gorman, and Mitzi Sato Yof. But once I did this page, I'm like, oh no. I actually really enjoyed this. Even though there's a lot of body space, you can see there's some streaking, but then I put some Wink of Stella on top of it, and now it's just a look, and we're not even gonna worry about it. But there's also some graphic tint on here, some glaze pen on here, and I think she's just so beautiful. This one, I was in the 11th hour of May, and I still hadn't completed a page in here. So this was done with alcohol markers, Jelly Roll Dual Hybrid Metallic, as well as glaze pens. It was a really quick color considering. And then I just found a quote about a Taurus, which says, "Taurus knows how to kill with kindness, but don't get it twisted. They still don't like you." And the Taurus is from April 21st to May 20th. I am choosing pictures that fit within that particular month that I'm coloring in. This one I did for June. This is Gemini. Because the entire page was filled with picture, I didn't add any text on this one here. Again, you guys know if there's a background, then I'll color it. But if I'm left to my own devices, then I'll either do something quick or I'll just add some text, and that is my go-to. This one here is the first page that I completed out of this coloring book, and until I added the black acrylic, because actually most of this was done, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but once that was on there, I thought the rest of this just really popped, and it made me really happy that I had this, but also interested to come into this every single month. So it is a project that I'd like to do, because I also have some other astrology or other kind of books that will fit to this prompt, but this is specifically something I'd like to work on every month if I can, for the month or for the year of 2022, just because of that particular hashtag. Now, again, my Instagram game is weak, so it doesn't necessarily get on there, but it is a focus to help me on a monthly basis. But this is the Zodiac special from Coloring Heaven. While this book, the annual 2019 special, doesn't have that many completed pages, it's because of this book that I went down the rabbit hole, especially for the Zan Zed, but also decided to pick up a Hannah Lynn. So let me show you my completed pages. And as you can see, it's starting to come apart, and that's fine. I don't like my book or my pages floating in just binders or whatever, so I'm just going to tape this together. But this is the first page that I completed out of this book, and it's the reason why I wanted to pick up basically all of the Zan Von Zed books that are on Amazon, just because I love the style of the artwork for these girls. Because to me, they're just so fierce, but they're angular. They're not as sweet looking as some of the other portrait books that I have. And there's something about this artwork that I really, truly love. So it's because of this that I've purchased all of my other ones. This one was for Olga Rani Prompt of Bees. This actually has a twofold background, so I added distress ink on a stencil for most of it, and then I added some text just because it still looked like it needed something. And it says, "We must travel in the direction of our fear," and that's by John Berryman. And while I did have Hannah Lynn in here and some of my other collection coloring books at the time, and I had no desire to purchase any more Hannah Lynn books, I had so much fun with this page right here that I decided to pick up the Steampunk Darling, I think that's the name of it, from Hannah Lynn. And that's mostly because I know Poet has that one. And then from there, I picked up those two small portrait books, which I've had a lot of fun in as well. Because I had completed another Hannah Lynn picture before that, and it was like, whatever. But I really loved how this came out, and because of that, it made me pick up a few more of the books. I don't have them all. I don't have any desire to have them all, but when I do work on a Hannah Lynn page, I do enjoy it. All right, guys. Well, that is all of my completed pages for my Coloring Heaven collection. It is a coloring book collection that I actually really enjoy because I do purchase from Etsy. I do like to wait until I have a few books because I think once you have 3 books or you hit a certain dollar amount, then shipping is free. It does still take a little bit of time to get here because I think they're still shipping from the UK. I can occasionally find this in my local Barnes & Nobles. I've never seen this in Walmart, although I've heard people have, so I have to rely on Etsy. I did notice that these books have gotten quite expensive on Etsy, and I will need to be probably a little bit more judicious. 1, because I just have so many coloring books, but 2, where I store these, I don't have much room left. So there's that. Anyway, guys, I'd love to know if you had a favorite page or if you enjoy your Coloring Heaven book collection. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. All right, well, that's it for me for now. And as always, aloha.